Thank you, Mr. Chair. Notice of the applications being considered this evening was given in keeping with the provisions of the Planning Act, RSO 1990 as amended, by first-class mail on April 26, 2024, and posting of signs on the subject properties on the same date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll now proceed with the first item in the public meeting of the evening. It's 7.1, Staff Report 24-048 PD, Zoning Bylaw Amendment Application. The owner is William G. Burton. The agent is Greg King. The location is 83 Mitchell Road, and the file number is D09/M17/24. Katie, would you like to comment on this application, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this rezoning is a condition of consent application B11/24M, which was approved by the Committee of Adjustment on March 14th, 2024. Under the consent application, the Committee of Adjustment conditionally approved one new 2-hectare lot with frontage on County Road 5. The subject lands are currently zoned as extractive industrial, rural, and provincially significant wetland under the City of Quinte West zoning bylaw. The conditionally approved severed lot is located in the general area of the subject property, which is currently within the extractive industrial zone. The extractive industrial zone recognizes the historic use of the aggregate operation. The justification report submitted in support of the application states that based on Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry records, that the aggregate pit was depleted and the site was rehabilitated to their satisfaction in 2014. Given that the aggregate license has been surrendered and there is no longer an aggregate operation, the extractive industrial zone is no longer appropriate. Ultimately, this application would remove the extractive industrial zoning on the property. The severed and retained parcels comply with the rural zone provisions, and the provincially significant wetland zone would remain on the property to recognize the wetland. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the city's official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. This application is recommended for approval.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have anyone in attendance other than the applicant who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone in opposition? Any general questions? Seeing none, committee, I would ask you to entertain the recommendation. Okay, moved by Councillor Quinte, Mayor Harrison seconds. Any further questions or comments?
That's a long road, that Mitchell Road.
All in favor? Carried, thank you. We now move to items 7.2, Staff Report 24-049 PD, a zoning bylaw amendment application. The owners John and Leslie Berdelink. The location is 451 Baptist Church Road. File number is D09/S18/224. Katie, would you like to also expand on this one or give us some information, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this rezoning is a condition of consent application B40/23S, which was approved by the Committee of Adjustment on November 9th, 2023. Under the consent application, the Committee of Adjustment conditionally approved one new 1.9 hectare lot. The purpose of the zoning amendment is to rezone both the severed and retained parcels. The severed lot is to be rezoned to the rural residential zone, and the retained lot is being rezoned to the rural exception 58 zone. The rural exception 58 zone would include a special provision to recognize a reduced lot frontage of 49 meters instead of the required 60 meters in the rural zone. The provincially significant wetland zone on the retained parcel would remain unchanged. Overall, the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the city's official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. This application is recommended for approval.
Okay, thank you very much. Have anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in favor other than applicants? Anyone in opposition? Any general questions? Seeing none, committee, I would ask you to entertain the recommendation and any questions or comments you might have. Mr. Brown? Move it. Seconder. Councillor McHugh? Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. We now move to item 7.3, Staff Report 24-050 PD, the zoning bylaw amendment application. The owner is John Latchford. Agent is Watson Land Surveyors. Location is east of 141 Roblin Road, and the file number is D09/S19/24. Katie, we're going to have to give you overtime tonight with all this extra work.
Through you, Mr. Chair, this rezoning is a condition of consent application B4/24S, which was approved by the Committee of Adjustment on February the 8th, 2024. Under the consent application, the Committee of Adjustment conditionally approved one new 0.4 hectare lot. The purpose of the zoning amendment is to rezone the severed parcel from the rural zone to the rural residential zone and bring the lot into conformity with the zoning bylaw. The approval of this application will facilitate the development of the subject property with a residential use at a future time. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the city's official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. This application is recommended for approval.
Okay, thank you very much again. Do we have anyone in attendance other than the applicant who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone in opposition? Any general questions? And I know we have some folks here from Watson's. Do you have any comments, or everything's good? Thank you very much. Hearing none, committee, I would ask you to entertain the recommendation. Councillor Quinte, Councillor McHugh. Any further questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Your comments regarding the applications and staff reports have been recorded and will be forwarded to the members of council together with the minutes of this meeting. Council will make a decision to approve or refuse the stated application at the regularly scheduled council meeting of Wednesday, June the 19th, 2024. We now are at public input. Anyone like to come forward and ask any questions, concerns they might have? Please do so. Give your name and address for this record, please. Yeah.
I've never done this before. I'm just trying to help out the Bata Church. I
Okay.
do maintenance for Bata Church. My
Okay.
name is Bill Sweet.
Okay.
They are trying to put a new sign up for the church. The one they have there is vandalized. Some of the information that I read about electronic sign display, they're saying that it needs to be set back because of the houses. The only house that can even see that sign is, where are we? Is 400, I wrote it down somewhere, sorry.
12 Nelson Road. Gotta be on top of Bata Ski Hill to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're saying when it's lit up that it's gonna bother people when they're driving down the highway. When you're driving towards Bata, the road splits. The houses on the east side of the road are kind of faced on an angle to the west, so they don't even see the Bata Church or the sign. And then the house that's up at the end where the road divides, I think it's 440 feet away. And it says that it needs to have 150 meters, which is underneath that. So, and then another one is the setback. I don't know whether you do your, the road allowance. Does it go from the center of the road or from the edge of the road?
Center.
So the
33
center
feet
of
the
road
other side.
is 12 feet. From the center of the road, it's 12'7", and then there's a sidewalk. The sidewalk is 4.9 inches, 4 feet 9 inches, and where the sign is there now is way past that, but they're saying they have to move that sign 2 feet. And they're saying that they need more information on it.
Yeah.
I know they didn't put any information when I was looking at it, it's being done by Green Tech, but there's no information on Green Tech's work saying where the sign's going, but it is going where the old sign is exactly, except it's moving 2 feet to which would be 2 feet to the west.
We're going to have a deal with it, as you know, down in the next item coming up, and I'm sure our staff is going to give us a review of the information we have, and then at that time we can maybe clear up some of the questions.
Okay,
But we appreciate your coming forward, that's for sure.
okay.
Yeah, and through you, Mr. Chair, this sign bylaw has been so much fun
Yeah.
for all of us, including
Well, the
you.
church has to have a sign, right? And the sign that's there now is,
Yeah.
it's old and it's fallen down, and somebody vandalized it. We don't know if it's kids or who it was.
Yep.
But it needs a sign, and it makes sense. Most churches now are
Yeah.
going to a menu board where you don't have to go out and change it. It's done through, it's not a flashing lights or anything else. It's just like
Just a lit
just a
sign.
little menu board
Yeah.
to let you know what's going to be going on in the church.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay?
okay. Now we're
Thank
going
you
to be
very much.
dealing with it.
Can I ask a
Yep,
question?
yep, sure.
Yeah, when you say it's a lit sign, so is it proposing to show like just digital information, like printed information?
Yes, yeah.
There's no pictures
No
or
pictures, no, nothing.
colors?
Yeah, just to let you know, like, church services will be held for John Smith, due to, deceased in the family or something like that.
And
Or,
is-
whatever they put on their menus.
And you're hoping the sign is going to be the same size as the sign that's there now?
It's 2 feet bigger. It's 47 inches now, the sign that's there. The new sign is going to be 63 inches.
Okay.
So where the front post is that's closest to the road, that's where the sign is going, but it's going to head towards the parking lot. So it's not going to change any closer to the road, it's going the other way.
And is there a timer or any kind of switch where you can turn the sign on and turn the sign off?
Yes, yeah, it's all going to be done, I guess, by Bluetooth or however they do that nowadays.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to deal with it right next, so I'm sure there'll be some more technical information provided by our staff, and then the committee can massage it if we have to and make it work for you, maybe.
Can I
Okay?
stand here, or-
Sure, no, you're welcome to sit right there. Okay, item 9, we had presentation. Is there anybody else for public input before I leave that? Okay, thank you. Now, item 9, presentations, we have none. Delegations, none. And so now we're into decision items, and the decision item is 11.1, Staff Report 24-035 PD, and a sign variance application in the owner's Sacred Heart Church. Location is 152 Fraser Drive. William, I guess you're going to be the spokesperson, so we'll listen to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. The proposal for the sign variance is to replace an existing sign with a new sign that has a digital element to it. The existing sign is located outside of the property line adjacent to the road. The proposed location of the new sign will be approximately 2 to 2.5 feet closer to the property line, but still not meeting the required setbacks, but moving as far as possible without encroaching upon the parking lot. The digital portion of the proposed sign is 32 inches high and 63 inches wide. As noted in the report, the proposed sign does not comply with the applicable setbacks and does not meet the minimum distance required to the residential lots and therefore cannot be recommended for approval. I think it's worth noting, though, that the applicant indicated that prior to the report being submitted, they had already spoken to the closest residents, and as was indicated, the residents had indicated that they had no concerns or no issues with it, and similar to what this gentleman said, that it was noted by the residents that they couldn't even see the sign from their location. After the report had been submitted, we did receive emails from the Ladies of the Sacred Heart, which indicated that the sign would be turned off at 8 o'clock at night, and that the message would be stationary and not flashing.
Okay. Okay, committee, I'll entertain your feelings, input, whatever. Mr. Edison?
Mr. Chairman, for the sign itself, so where the street comes up through there, it's a dead end in there. So one way to restrict any input or any light on any other houses in there is have the sign one-sided. It doesn't need to be both-sided. Everybody goes in there, it's one way. They have to come out, they have to go in and out the same way, so they would see the sign from the one side. So and that would eliminate any light that would be going into that area up in there. Where I live probably about 1 kilometer up the road from McCurdy's. I can't see the sign, but I can tell you the sign's on, because the fog or the rain or even a clear night, you can see the sky flashing with the light. So it's any impact on there. One of the other things I was wondering, is it just going to be church information that's going to be on that sign, or is it going to be advertising for anybody else or businesses, or just a church? So just church information, that's all it'll be on there. All right.
Okay.
So.
Michael, you have any comments?
My concern was answered. I was going to say, because it doesn't meet the requirements, that the 11 till 7 recommendation curfew would get bumped up, and William mentioned that it would be 8 p.m., which I would be fine with.
Yeah. Councillor Card, you have any questions, concerns, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I was, had a similar question to Mike that the gentleman answered already about the timing, so nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Councilor McHugh? No? Start with Ms. Simmons, and then I'll work this way. It's the big bar in the bottom there you just pressed.
Just when I learned the old ones. Anyway, the only concern I have is precedent. And you can say this is how it's going to be used now, but how are you going to ensure that's going to be used that way in the future if you allow the sign that doesn't fit, the qualifications or the standards at present time? I mean, can you restrict, say it can't be on? Can you add that to the, you can make an amendment? And I actually think 11 p.m. is a little late, so being
8 p.m.
8 p.m. I thought somebody said 11 to 7.
Your mic's not on. Just have press it and leave it alone.
11 to 7, sorry.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
7 to 8. And then would that be, and the one side is possible that you know of?
I can bring that up with the church.
If you want.
I'm just here to kind of help provide.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Okay. Mr. Brown?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So you mentioned that the sign, the lit portion will be, I got the impression like a static readout, like just words, just
Yeah, it's
okay.
just words like similar to what you have up there.
Because just
Just a blackboard with lights on.
just going through, this is what the Ladies of Sacred Heart sent. That doesn't add up though. That image right there is this the sign that they're getting? Because I'm trying to figure out the inconsistency here.
Maybe if you'd like to get up to the podium, sir, 'cause this is being recorded, so they can hear you better at the microphone.
Yeah, I think they just use that as a picture.
Okay.
Because all it's going to have is wording on it. That would not be on it, would be just the top sign plus like a menu board at the bottom. That's
I
all
think
it would be.
William wants to make a comment here. Maybe he can clarify something first here.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe the sign is an LED sign. It would have the capability of displaying whatever was programmed into it. The email that I received subsequent to the report from the Ladies of Sacred Heart did indicate that their intention was only for static text, and when there was no announcements to make on behalf of the church, then it would be a static display, but it would be, they stressed it would not be a flashing display or a rotating or changing display.
Yes, there'd be nothing flashy going on it. It's just it's not going to digital across the sign. It's just going to be stationary.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I
then they
gotcha.
can change it at, whatever they need to put on it. Like, today's worship is at 5 p.m. or,
Is this something that will be added to the conditions if it's approved? Or is there somebody who can comment on that?
Brian, would you like to comment, please?
Yes, through Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think I just kind of noted down if the committee want to ensure that static nature of the display, we can simply add that into the recommendation
Yeah.
by saying replace a ground sign that will support a new electronic static message display, something to that effect, and that would cover it, and then we can enforce it from there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ms. Simmons here that, we've already decided on things like this, and we kind of set a precedent, and the slippery slope to go up when you make exceptions. Trees can get knocked down in a storm, different people can move into a house, so, it's not,
all the
it's hard to
land
say no,
around-
hard to say yes.
All the land around there, though, is, the other side of the street is a park.
Yeah.
The other side of the street is another church.
Yeah, I visited it, yeah,
And then the other side is a church, so,
yeah,
yeah. And it's all brand-new trees that have been planted around there, so.
right.
yeah.
Okay. Thank
And I
you.
guess your other question was that he wanted to know if there would be any outside advertising or that, and I think you
No,
pretty much
no.
answered the question, but I just thought he'd clarify that, maybe.
Yeah, no outside advertising, no. It's just for church use only.
Okay. Counselor Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of staff concerns was the ability to change the intensity of the lighting Is there the ability to change the intensity of the lighting to make it brighter or softer?
That I don't know. Most of the LED stuff they have today, you usually get light systems with it, so you can, as you say, dull it down. I know most lights or most LEDs you buy, you have 3 or 4 choices of the lighting. Whether this comes with this, I don't know. I can check into that.
The problem is,
Yes.
we have to approve it now.
Yeah.
Were you aware of anything on that?
William?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that information wasn't received with the application or the variance. I do agree that most electronic signs that we've seen come through do have that ability to set the intensity, but the information wasn't provided at time of application.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Quinte?
Thanks very much. Yeah, Member Simmons brings up a good point about longevity into the future. As long as it stays a church, the building and the property stays a church, then I don't have a problem. If it becomes something else in the future, that's the part where I would have a problem with the sign being there. And my other concern, if I'm reading this correctly, that the sign is going to be within the road allowance. Do I understand that correctly? And do we not have another situation? I don't think it was an electronic sign, but we had another situation where a property owner wanted a sign on city property. I believe it was on Dundas Street near a plaza or something. And didn't we have some requirements or restrictions or conditions that we put on that particular sign? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You do?
William?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we did do that, and we haven't received anything formal on this application, but I understand that the Ladies of Sacred Heart are aware that they would need to enter into an encroachment agreement. It hasn't been submitted, but I believe they are of the understanding that should the variance be approved, that would be part of their application process for the sign.
So, back to you, sir, Mr. Sweet. Can the sign not be placed on the church property instead of on the road allowance? Is there a problem with that?
The measurements I didn't think it was on the road allowance, but it was, if you go from the center of the road at 9 meters, is it? From the center of the road, it was 12.5 feet. And the sign is just sitting on the edge of 9 meters from the sidewalk.
Brian?
Yeah, through Mr. Chair, the location of the road, so it's not necessarily true in every case that you measure from the centre of the road. The road can, obviously sits within a road allowance, but the road base itself can be over one side to the other. Yeah. So the lot line is the lot line. That might be closer to the centre line of the road or further away, depends where the road sits within the road allowance. So I think what the city's looking for is clarification that it is within private property rather than within the road allowance.
Yeah.
So we would just need that clarification before the permit's issued.
Yeah.
Or an encroachment agreement if that's required.
Yeah.
So then,
I know it can be moved. When I was there today looking at it, and the measurements I took, it's still, from where they have it allocated to go, it still can be moved 2 feet to the edge, 3 feet to the edge of the pavement is where they could end up putting that sign. They could still move it inside. It would, if from where you're saying it's measured from, it would probably be close to, I would say, 8 feet, 9 feet away from the sidewalk.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, my point is you can't measure it from something physical on the road. We need to, through a surveyor or to actually show where the lot line is, because you're not going to get an accurate, it's not like saying, a certain distance from the centre line, because it may not be in that location. I think, for the purposes of the committee, I think we're comfortable with the approval of the variance. There's still some steps and some things to undertake that we have to clarify before the permit's issued, one of which is the location, and then that will trigger whether or not an encroachment agreement's required. I'm not sure the committee need to know that information right now. I think if you're comfortable with the variance aspect to it, we will confirm it's either on city property or require an encroachment agreement, which would come back to council.
All right, so that's where I was kind of going at. You're probably not aware, or maybe you are aware, if the church has hired a surveyor to survey the lot line, so you know exactly where the lot line is.
Yeah,
That's kind of
I don't know, no.
But Director Jardine has alleviated my thoughts, so I guess the mayor, you going to comment? That's all for me, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I hate to tell you, but I think I've traveled that road for 60-plus years. And the sign is, it's been there a long time, the one that was vandalized. And all they're trying to do is put a sign back up that's a little bit bigger. And, I'm surprised that Gerard saw the light because he's usually in bed before 8 o'clock. But anyways, that's an occasion we'll have to look at. But, they're only wanting to recognize the church and the service and the time it's going to be held, and that's all they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So let's get it done. That's my opinion.
Okay.
We tend to, we say we cut red tape, but we kind of look at ways that we can add more instead of cutting it. And this sign bylaw is a perfect example of an expensive way to do business. What would we have done if they'd have put the sign back up where it was? Read it peacefully and kept trucking.
Brian?
Yeah.
Through Mr. Chair, I think, obviously it's been remarked before that this has come up a number of times. It seems to be the playbook when it comes to electronic signage. When it comes to the situation, the sign bylaw is an approved bylaw that represents the wishes of council. And the wishes of council, the introduction of that bylaw was to restrict and limit electronic signage. So that's what we are doing. Nobody's playing unfair with anybody. That's council's wishes. Obviously, if council wish to open up the sign bylaw again and take another look at that, we'll do the work required.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I think it took us 5 years to get the one we have. So let's not open it up again.
Mr. Brown and then Councillor Quinte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to keep this fair and comparing it to the one that I remember from, I don't know, about half a year ago. I think it was across from the old byway. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it's not fair to compare it to that. On Water Street in Trenton, there's a lit sign. Exception must have had to be made for that sign to exist.
Yes, they did come and apply here at the veterinary office there.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so an exception was made there, and nobody in the area seems to be unhappy with it.
I think there was conditions put on it, the same as this.
Okay.
When it could be lit and turned on, turned off, and the brightness of it, I believe, as I recall at the time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That clarifies things for me. Thank you.
I think most of them that we've had to deal with lately, there's always been a condition that we've had to massage it a bit, I'll put it that way, to make it conform and try to help folks out or whatever.
Make things
And,
work.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor Quinte, you're next.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Director Jardine's comments about the sign bylaw. I think it's working great because of electronic signage. And so when the staff say it doesn't meet the current standard, you have to come and seek permission. And we're the committee, so we're just going to make a recommendation to do whatever. It still has to go to the council, and then the council decides.
Yeah.
But this is a way that we can massage a situation like the churches, and same what we did for the veterinarian's office. And the one that you spoke of about across from the former Byway store, that was a little over the top. And so the sign bylaw was working perfectly where we can make concessions. And in this case, it sounds like it's going to work for me. My only concern is when the building and the property is no longer a church property and the sign is still there. That's my only concern. Thanks.
Church has been there 100 years or more now.
And we can say that about many businesses and
Yes.
churches. There are some churches on Leicester Road that we were talking about at the last planning meeting and the planning meeting before that, that's not a church
Not a
anymore.
church anymore. Yeah.
So, there you go.
Ms. Simmons?
Yeah, I have no concern about the sign with the church if it is on church property, but I do have concerns about the future because as you know, churches, not churches, all churches survive, and there's going to be a sign there, and is it going to be grandfathered into whoever owns the property next?
Well, staff, Brian, I was going to say you were one, you want to comment on that aspect?
I think, Mr. Chair, we could, if the committee wish, we could further massage the recommendation to say something along the lines of to replace a ground sign for church use or for the purposes of church business that will support a new electronic static message display sign at the property, and that might on their property. That might.
Okay, Councillor Card.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if the committee would support it also, if we could further massage, maybe just to clarify on the timing. I know it was suggested the 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., but maybe if we formalize that as well. I think with the non-flashing and the non-grandfathered in, if the property ceases to be a church in the future, I think that those are fair conditions if the committee agrees.
Okay. Okay, if there's no further questions, certainly the recommendation from me is to not approve, but if I put a motion on the table, subject to, and I'll let Brian maybe add to the approval recommendation beyond that, but who wants to move it? Councillor Kasovas moves it,
Make the motion that we do approve the sign,
subject to the
subject to
conditions.
the conditions are met.
Seconded by Mr. Edison. Okay, Brian, I'll let you read it, so before I call the vote.
Okay, it won't be perfect prose, but here we go. Committee recommends that the application submitted by Anne-Marie Aquino-Coward, chairperson representing Sacred Hearts Church in Battawa, to replace a ground sign for church-related use that will support a new electronic message static display at the property 152 Fraser Drive be approved.
Okay, everybody understand that?
Sorry. Sorry, I did enter. So at the property of 152 Fraser Drive, illuminated between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Be approved.
Okay, anything else? Go ahead, Ms. Simmons.
It has to be on their property, right?
Again, through Mr. Chair, that will still be to be determined. If not, then they would have to apply for an encroachment agreement from the city. Yeah.
Okay, everybody comfortable now with the wording? Yep. I'm sure we'll get a formal presentation in the minutes and whatever when it goes to council, so. Okay, Councillor Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Mr. Jardine. If there's an encroachment agreement, is there a cost to that?
Yeah.
And if there is a cost, would the city be able to go out and help them maybe position the sign so they wouldn't have an encroachment? No?
Not if it entails cost to the city in terms of our surveyor to do that, but
Okay.
we'll certainly assist the property owner as much as we can with the information that we have. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
Okay,
just
Mr.
one
Mayor.
more comment, and I'm certain that there's water lines and sewer lines that go along the west side of that road in that area, so that would be certainly something that would prohibit moving it further to the, well, you could move it to the west, not to the east. But
probably have to do a locate or something, maybe
Yeah.
when they survey it or something, they can have somebody, somebody can go ProMark or somebody can find it, or somebody from the city, maybe from building department.
Call before you dig.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, everybody comfortable now? It's been regularly moved and seconded?
Yep.
All in favor to approve, subject to the conditions. Carried, thank you very much. Okay. Before we leave this, I had a question from somebody the other day, and it regards to signs. I don't know whether you've noticed or not, but realtors now have got mobile trailers, and they're parking them here and there all over. A person asked me, now that you restrict mobiles, portable signs, which we do, and we have a bylaw, we still allow them with certain conditions, I'll put it that way. But a person asked me the other day, and I know some of them I see backed on private property. I just wondered if staff, have you noticed that, or have had any concerns, or anybody expressed any opinion on it or whatever? I don't mean to open up
Yeah.
another fly in the ointment here.
Yeah, through Mr. Chair. I'm not aware, unless William knows or Adam, if there's been any recent complaints. We've all seen them. We see them more often than it used to be. The loophole there is that because they're on a trailer, they're effectively a vehicle. So the sign bylaw doesn't comply, and that goes for, when you get, signage on the side of a truck or inside of a panel van or something like that. So that's the loophole that they use. So we can't currently enforce them. Mobile signs are a little bit different in that mobile signs can be moved from location to location, but when they're in place, they're in place, and that's that they're on the ground, right? They're not a vehicle as such. So that's the loophole there. If it becomes a bigger issue and we get more complaints, again, it's something that we can amend the bylaw to try and deal with.
It was just a question that was asked
Yeah.
me, and now this come up to mind, I thought it was a good spot to maybe see if staff had any opinion on it, I'll put it that way.
I think the obvious problem would be as soon as you try to enforce them, they would just move them to a different location, and then you'd be back to square one. So.
But I do see them in other municipalities, it's just not us. They seem to be using it all over, and I guess it's a good form of advertisement, but anyway. Anyway, thank you very much.
Mobile signage.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. Okay, we move into printed information now. 12.1, the monthly planning reports, A, B, and C. All right, A and B, I should say, of the zoning bylaw and official plan amendments and the building department reports. And that's 12.1. We might as well do 12.2, which is committee site plan control minutes. Do we got to get a mover and a seconder for that? And entertain any questions regarding those? Mr. Councilor McHugh moves. Councilor Quinte second. Any questions from the committee regarding any of those meetings and reports? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried, thank you. All right, now non-printed, we have none, and so we have requests for information. I'll start with Mr. Edison. Anything tonight?
No, sir.
Thank you. No? Oh, geez, I'm getting an easy sell. No? Ms. Simmons, any concerns, questions? Mr. Brown? Councilor O'Neill?
Not tonight, thank you.
Councilor Quinte?
I'm going to stay quiet, too.
Okay.
We talk about sign bylaws and signs and all that. What do we do about the people who come in here at night and post these signs on various corners? We buy your house, we want to buy your house, we want your jewelry, we want this. How do we control that? What can we do to stop? That irks me more than anything.
We do take them down. So when bylaw staff are doing their inspections, if they see them, they'll take them down on a regular
Can we
basis.
put anything up at, at our borders that we could find people or something? Can we, I'll ask you to bring that to council.
I doubt very much you could catch them. It's fly posting essentially. I think we might be chasing our tails on that one, but we do remove them. I mean, I'm sure on any given week the bylaw truck has got a stack of them in the back of the truck. Yep.
We look more like Las Vegas.
Okay, if there's no further business, I would ask, there's no notice of motion that I've noticed. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Councilor Essen? Councilor McHugh? All in favor, or everybody did? No, I guess unanimous, I believe. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, definitely in favor.